Welcome in, everyone. Ready to dive deep into the life of a legend.
Always up for a good deep dive.
This time, it's Pelé. But we're going way beyond the goals and the trophies.
Oh, yeah. Definitely more than a typical sports bio.
I've been looking through all these articles and biographies you sent, and I'm already hooked.
Good. It's a story of resilience and ambition, but also a look at how he handled a world that wasn't always on his side.
It really struck me, learning about his childhood.
Oh, yeah. His beginnings were incredibly humble.
It's almost hard to picture, right? This icon of football, but start out playing barefoot.
With a sock stuck with rags.
Exactly. You see that, and it really puts things in perspective.
It makes you think, right? From those streets, those makeshift games, to filling stadiums worldwide.
Unbelievable.
But that poverty wasn't just a hurdle. It was fuel for him.
How so?
Well, his father, Dondinho, was a talented footballer himself.
Oh, right. I read about that.
But his career got cut short by injuries. So Pelé wasn't just playing for himself. He was carrying, his father's dreams, too.
And his family's hopes of escaping poverty.
Exactly. It adds this whole other layer to his drive.
Like he was playing for something much bigger than himself right from the start.
Right from the beginning. And, when you add in the racism he faced.
Yeah, we can't overlook that. It wasn't just about individual prejudice either. It was systemic.
Deeply ingrained in society. To understand his impact, we got to look at the racial dynamics of Brazil back then.
It makes you wonder, did his global fame help challenge that system? Or did it, shield him from the worst of it?
Good question. It makes you think about fame and societal change and how messy it can be.
Definitely. And then there's the World Cup, of course. But you pointed out the brutality he faced in '66.
Especially that Portugal match. It was rough.
And some argue it wasn't just hard tackles, right?
Some say it was targeted, fueled by resentment, and, racism. It almost made him quit international football.
Wow. To come back from that takes incredible strength.
To be targeted, injured like that,
and
then reach even greater heights. Talk about resilience.
It makes me think, how do we find that kind of strength when we get knocked down? And he had so much scrutiny off the field, too.
Oh, yeah, the pressure was intense.
Especially during the military dictatorship in Brazil.
A lot of people criticized him for not getting more political.
It was a turbulent time, for sure. People wanted him to use his platform.
Yeah, but it's hard to judge, looking back from today. Silence can be its own form of resistance.
True. It wasn't a simple situation.
Not at all. And he was navigating fame and politics. It's interesting to compare him with someone like Muhammad Ali.
Totally different approaches.
Ali was incredibly outspoken, right?
Yeah.
Two icons, but very different ways of wielding influence.
It shows you how tough it can be to use your platform in a way that feels authentic no matter who you are.
For sure.
But before we get too deep into the political landscape, let's shift gears a bit. I want to hear more about his life beyond football.
Oh, yeah. That's where some of the most inspiring stories are.
His impact went way beyond the field.
Way beyond. He wasn't just content to be a football legend,
Right.
He really wanted to make a difference, a real difference.
And it seems like he did.
He did.
You mentioned his work promoting football in the U.S.
Like the New York Cosmos. Yep.
And then his advocacy with UNICEF for children's rights.
Huge advocate for education, too. Peace. All on a global scale.
He really used that platform of his, didn't he?
He did. He recognized the power he had and he used it for causes he believed in.
It's a good lesson, isn't it?
Using your influence for good. Whatever your field is.
Speaking of which, there's this story. It blew me away. The Biafran War.
In Nigeria.
Yeah. They actually called a ceasefire.
Both sides.
So they could watch Pelé play.
In a friendly match. Can you believe that?
It's just incredible. Shows you his impact, right? Bringing people together.
Even warring factions.
Through the love of the game.
It's powerful stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
But, we should acknowledge, not everything was perfect, right? Some of the sources talk about personal struggles, too.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
High-profile divorce, for one.
Mm-hmm.
Strained relationships with some of his children.
It's important to remember, right? Even legends. They're human.
They're human.
The joys and heartbreaks, the same complexities as anyone else. It's about seeing the whole picture.
Not just the perfect image.
The man behind the myth,
It helps you connect with him, I think, on a different level.
Makes his achievements more impressive somehow.
And the struggles, well, they become more relatable.
We see the flaws, the setbacks, even moments of doubt. It makes the successes even more powerful.
Like it humanizes him.
It does.
And it makes you think about your own life, right?
Yeah.
How do we navigate those tough times?
What can we learn from how he handled his own trials?
It's something to think about.
It is. And as we wrap up here,
Yeah.
I think it's crucial to move past just the achievements, the goals, the trophies. To really understand Pelé, we have to grapple with the complexities.
The highs and the lows, the whole picture.
Exactly.
It leads to a fascinating question for you, our listener.
How does knowing all this,
Knowing about the hardships, the controversies,
the personal struggles,
how does it change how you see him?
does it change how you see those accomplishments on the field? Knowing he went through all that.
For me, it does. Like, knowing what he overcame
Yeah.
makes those victories even more.
Meaningful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What about you listening? Do you feel that shift? Seeing him differently?
I think this deep dive has really shown us something. Pelé's life.
Yeah.
It wasn't just about football.
Right.
It was resilience, ambition, how to navigate a world that wasn't always fair, you know?
And in the end, using his platform to actually make a difference.
Yeah.
That's powerful. It's like,
Yeah,
it makes you think about your own life, you know,
it does.
what we want to achieve, the impact we want to have,
I think that's Pelé's true legacy.
not just the records.
Not just the trophies, it's the inspiration.
And we've learned, even legends, they're human.
They are.
They face challenges, they make mistakes.
But what sets Pelé apart, I think,
Is that ability to rise above
to use his influence for good.
and leave a real mark.
On the world.
So, as we wrap up here, I hope this inspires you to look deeper, you know,
That's the surface.
to see the complexity of a life well lived,
Pelé's story. It's a testament to the human spirit.
overcoming adversity, using what you have, your platform, to make positive change,
You know, maybe it'll even inspire you.
to create your own legacy.
Your own impact.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.